haven't got anything written yet. And this is going to be harder than I thought. I know. Hey. Yeah. You remember those reviews I told you I was going to be working on? I think I'm going to need some help. Can you come over? Alright, awesome. See you there.
I've seen better days. I've been star of minute plays. I've seen better days. And the bottom drops out.
Okay, everyone, before we start with the review on bashing on Naylor, let me introduce you to someone who's going to be bashing on me, literally. This is Alejandro.
Hello.
And that right over there is Alejandro's stick. See, I have a confession to make. Several, actually. One is that even when I did actually enjoy Naylor's work, yes, I know, how could I skipped this chapter. I never gave a shit about it. I just glazed over it and moved on to the next thing. This chapter bored me to death. And now, when I actually try to review it, it puts me to sleep. So, I've decided to get some help here and hire Alejandro on as my manager. Now, he's going to be doing lots of important things, like, okay, I don't know exactly what he's going to be doing, but it's going to be important stuff behind the scenes. You know, kind of like the government, only useful. Also, one last note, Alejandro here actually is a writer. He does understand the fundamentals of writing. He actually has a book that can be purchased on Amazon. So, his advice will be very useful. Now, let's get started.
We start off with Sheila on a cleaning rampage. Make your own cat hair jokes here because there's too many to pick from.
Wow, the wreck of the Hesperus. Why is he referencing such an obscure poem?
Hey, what the hell are you... How are you giving commentary too?
If I'm going to be your manager, I get special privileges, including my own brand of commentary to accompany yours.
Fair enough.
I also get 33 to 40% of your earnings.
Just like the government. Anyways, as it turns out, the Blacks are having guests over. It seems the Kelsos are visiting.
Hey, champ. What has two thumbs and doesn't give a crap? Bob Kelso. How you doing?
I wish. No, Kelso is actually that black cat from Chapter 5. Remember, the murderer. Nothing really wrong with this page. The joke isn't even horrible. And as someone with an older sister, I can confirm they will get asked to turn their music down from time to time. The Kelsos are introduced in the next page, and we see the wife for the first time, and we also get this little comment on the last panel. You remember those eyes, huh?
You mean cold?
Emotionless?
And unfeeling?
Again, there's nothing really horrible here, but then we move to the next page, and suddenly it's nighttime, so entertain yourselves with your own version of what they all talked about at dinner. Anyways, we see Fisk heading down to the fridge for a midnight snack, only to be stared at by Bob and...
I'll get my laptop. Son of a bitch. Fuck you, Naylor!
How could I not catch it sooner? He has the exact same name as Kelso from Scrubs. I should have caught that one in Chapter 5. And Scrubs was created first, too. This chapter was made in 2003. Scrubs started in 2001.
Ugh. Do you want to see how bad Chapter 5 was now? There was so much bullshit that I completely missed the fact that Bob Kelso's name is completely ripped off from Scrubs. What else has Naylor ripped off?
Xander, remember
Yes?
that poem I covered the start of the chapter?
Yeah.
The author of the poem, his name is Longfellow. You know, the same Longfellow from chapter 5.
Fuck!
While Xander is recovering, I want to talk about this black cat. This is possibly the laziest character I've seen from Naylor so far. Everyone else has some amount of depth to their faces, but this black cat just has either slits in his eyes when they're closed, or very white eyes with cat pupils. I feel like I'm looking at a pumpkin carving.
Okay, I'm back. Anyways, Bob is apparently crazy and plays chess with himself. Fisk has nothing better to do, so they decide to play a match. Now the following page is where you all should either grab some coffee or a pillow, because this is where you'll start to fall asleep. Kelso asks the question, why did you choose black? And that sparks a long, drawn out, boring conversation. The thing starts off with the talk about if sides.
Awake!
They talk about how two sides in conflict just have different ideals and why they should clash. Fisk comes to the conclusion that when ideals come to conflict, one has to establish dominance over the other, and the only bad ideals are ones that take away self-determination.
Yes, because, God forbid there be such a thing as, compromise.
Really? Can't sound more angry than that?
I told you she had to put me to sleep. I blew all my rage on that Scrubs bit.
The conversation shifts towards the Vietnam War, and Fisk just has to ask the question, was it worth it? This sets Kelso, and by proxy Naylor, off on a soapbox about war. He talks about how he has seen the world, and so did this fellow.
What the hell, man? Ah, damn it!
Okay, I'm going to make this as short and sweet as possible. Yes! And all the bullshit, filler buster, the final answer is yes! However, if I settle for that, we'll skip over some juicy crap that pisses off Alejandro.
So you know what? You deal with it! I'm going back to sleep.
In my opinion, the speech Fisk gives about color black and how it represents evil or bad is out of place. I mean, philosophy's great and all, but why is he being so dramatic? Couldn't they have just had this conversation in a different way? I never think of evil when I think of a chessboard, but maybe that's just me. Also, this guy Fisk is supposed to be a Vietnam veteran, but at the same time, he's not talking like any veteran I've ever known, and I've talked to family members who've served. He talks, for instance, about the American sphere of influence. I have only ever heard politicians use that phrase. Also, with his speech about the Cold War, he talks about how they'll pay dearly for their victory there. I'm going to have to go with Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore's Watchmen on this issue. For anyone who's watched the movie or read the comic Watchmen, will know for a fact that winning Vietnam didn't really accomplish anything there, and I don't think it would have accomplished anything in this reality, the real world, either.
I have a few of my own complaints as well.
That was a short nap.
And it's all I needed. Anyways, here's the problems I have. First, the bullshit line about how well off Fisk is because of America fighting in Vietnam. No. Just no. Also, this bit about where America's influence isn't, people are suffering, I can name several countries that are doing just fine without us. The only thing I can even agree on is that if Fisk's dad didn't go to Vietnam, someone else's dad would have. That's about the only thing Naylor got right. As always, Naylor can't do an analogy to save his life, but the Cold War to chess one sounds like a fair comparison, and if anyone else had wrote it, it would have worked. Instead, Naylor botches it up. Also, once again, Naylor's dialogue choices. Hymology?
Just a minute.
It means dominance. You're welcome.
The game ends with Kelso winning the chess match. So that's chapter 8 for you. Short and boring, and at its core, this is what Naylor really is. Peel away the fan service shots and the gag-a-day jokes, and this is what you are left with. A soapbox and some that never shuts up. Thank God our next chapter actually has things happening.
Sprayberry High School? That's just a terrible name for a high school.
Thanks for letting me get started there. Anyways, we start off with Lucy at the nurse's office waiting for her mother, and yes, I think the black cat looks like he's about to rape her as well. And in the next page we get...
He looks like a rejected kid doll hat!
Enter the Ted! Complete with man-boy arms and chest, a magnificent butt for the girls, and those teenage man waves.
Teenage man waves? Is that even a thing? Sounds like something from a 1960s comic. And, why is Magnificent Butt the only thing that has an exclamation point?
I told you Naylor was bi. And if that's not enough, check out this dialogue.
I sprained my wrist wrestling down a wild boar. Do you just want to stay down there for the rest of the review?
Give me a few moments.
Also, this mental image next to Lucy. What is that? I mean, I know what it's supposed to be, but God, that just looks horrible.
So we cut to Lucy's mom showing up, and oh look, the Ted has a thing for older women, it seems.
Well, at least Naylor's back to doing what he's actually good at.
He's actually good at something?
Drawing fan service.
I love how Ted jerks up out of his seat and exclaims, "Who was that woman?" Subtlety!
Is not one of Naylor's strong suits.
Also, it's weird the nurse is smiling as she sits down. Is Naylor just that bad with facial expressions?
Well, there's that. Personally, I like to pretend she's smiling because she's hoping she gets to beat the little son of a bitch down. Remember, physical punishments were still allowed in school back then. Anyways, moving on, we go from one nurse's office to another one as Lucy gets her first gynecology exam. Anyways, this page, to this day, is still funny to me. Lucy's reaction is just priceless. And yes, the implications are horrible, but I still laugh at it.
So what species is she anyways to have a tongue like that?
Fuck. This next page, on the other hand, is horrible in every sense of the word and shows, again, Naylor cannot write a mother and daughter conversation. It's time to dissect this page. First, the overall idea that Sheila is putting her daughter on the pill just because her sister was a whore. Second, it's cute she doesn't even mention what a slut she was herself. Do I need to bring up chapters 2 and 3 again? Third, it's as misogynistic as it gets. Hell, it might count for hitting both women and men. Boys spread stress and misery while girls gather and bring it home. Go fuck yourself, Naylor. Fourth, the fact that Sheila has no faith in her daughter not to be a whore. Fifth, the whole knowledge of Lucy going on the pill has nothing to do with the rest of this chapter. And the very little to do with the rest of the comic. This knowledge was not crucial in any way. You know what? Screw this page. Let's just move on. We cut back to the guys now in the locker room,
where Naylor gets to continue exploring his bi tendencies.
Oh hey, the black cat has a name. It's Fang. Anyways, we get the Ted set up as the most blatant villain possible by saying he's going to use Lucy to get to her mother. Oh, by the way, the expression is, if I play my cards right, you dumb shit.
I'm more hung up on the rape face he's making.
Well, the Ted's plan doesn't go over so well, as he has to get through Fisk first and...
Wait, Ted Stevens, as in the senator who made the series of tubes quote on the about the internet?
Oh, God damn it, Naylor. I need a new counter for everything he rips off.
Anyways, Fisk continues to be a dick, and he doesn't even know the Ted is a horrible person yet. So Fisk is just an asshole. What a surprise. And as if 2 chapters ago wasn't creepy enough, we now get a freshman girl dancing around in her panties, and to make it even worse, her brother walks in on her and just stares at her.
That grin alone is what makes it so creepy.
Oh, and I see no knocking sound effect anywhere on any of those previous panels, so no, you didn't knock on the door, you lying piece of shit.
Okay, next page. Let me get my britches on. Has anyone after 1965 actually said that?
Nope. Well, Fisk decides to be a good brother and deliver the Ted's message. Lucy's reaction is kind of predictable and...
Wait, they are cats, but she's giving puppy dog eyes.
My mind is blown.
Also, do girls usually do this I can't call him, I'll look desperate thing?
Ladies, if you're watching, feel free to answer that in the comments section.
Regardless of what happens, Lucy and the Ted get set up for a date. something that Lucy neglected to mention to her mother. I love Sheila's response, but even more so.
As if the Ted wasn't bad enough. What is up with that outfit Lucy has on?
You know how the mullet was business in the front, party in the back? Well, this is like business up top, horror on the bottom.
We don't even know shit about fashion. We know this is fucked up.
The next page, we get back to the Ted being a sleaze.
And Lucy must be an idiot, because anyone more observant would notice how unsubtle Ted is in showing interest in Lucy's mom.
Oh, you're not saying his name right.
Suddenly it's nighttime and the date is over.
Because who wants to see Lucy's date? Let's just skip to the Ted being more of an asshole. He sees his chance of getting inside Lucy's house slipping further and further away. So he decides to kiss Lucy to get inside. Seriously, first Fisk with Elizabeth and now this. It's like kisses in this world have mind control powers. Well, whatever Lucy was hoping for, it's short-lived as she is passed out on the couch and, oh look, Sheila happens to be awake. Which leads to the Ted spying on her. And we get even more gratuitous fan service.
Is no one gonna wonder about the claw scratches on the wall? This guy could not be more unsubtle if he tried.
Well, instead of Naylor sticking to what he's good at, we cut back to Lucy, and it turns out Fisk is awake now as well. And we get possibly the creepiest and worst panels of him to date. Flirting with his sister and then whispering in her ear to get her perky butt into the kitchen and fix him a sandwich.
Incest and misogyny. I'm impressed Naylor managed to combine the two things he cares about the most in one panel.
I'm calling bullshit on this next page right here because this is not what siblings do!
Look, I have an older sister. Do you have any idea what she would do to me if I did something like that to her? Here's a hint. I wouldn't be here making videos right now.
And Ted the peeking asshole manages to keep his cover for another page.
Well, we cut to the next night. Now it seems the Ted is talking to Fang, and I guess the two share a dorm room and... Wait, what?
I didn't know high schools had dorm rooms.
Yeah, neither did I. They, I guess, could be living in an apartment or something, but I doubt it. They should still be with their parents right now.
Screw it, we have bigger problems. Tonight's the night, Fang.
The night I get arrested and have to register as a sex offender.
It turns out the kids will be out of the house, and Sheila is going to be alone. At the very least, I like Fang's comment. He's at least not a dick and supporting the Ted in any way. Too bad he doesn't try to stop him, so once again, my favorite character in this chapter is a minor side character. Well, the Ted, God, I'm getting sick of saying that, goes through with his plan, and Sheila, just like Lucy and her friends, enters the door armed now. I feel sorry for the mailman that has to deliver letters to their house.
Mail call.
What the hell do you want? Ooh, coupons.
Sheila lowers the weapon to talk to the Ted, who, as always, shows no subtlety as he tries to get inside Sheila's robe.
I have never seen a more transparent character. Kevin Bacon in Hollow Man was less see-through than this, and he was actually transparent.
Well, it seems Sheila is as dense as her daughter, and it takes a while, but finally, the light bulb in her head goes off.
I love the last lines. It's like he forgot his plan halfway through his confession.
I love that look on Sheila's face. It's the same look she gave Lucy. That's the you're in deep shit now look. We get another long string of dialogue from Sheila, justified for once, and the Ted, smooth talker that he is, for once, is left speechless.
I guess he ran out of obvious villain lines.
Nonetheless, Sheila manages to redeem herself just a tiny bit by telling him to go away and calling him a 16-year-old piece of dick.
Which seems like a fair comparison for most of the characters in this comic.
And the Ted has to face the music on the next page. How will he deal with this? What horrible consequences will he have to...
Or he could get off scot-free because it's a Naylor comic and only the women seem to get punished.
He even has to be a further dick by flat out insulting Lucy and walking away. And once again, Fang does nothing. To his cred, he looks like he wants to say something but doesn't know what to do.
So that's chapters 8 and 9, everyone. Chapter 8 was nothing but an excuse for Naylor to get up on a soapbox once again and talk about war in Vietnam and how it was worth it, in his opinion. And then we get chapter 9, which, okay, fine, it makes Sheila look like a better person, but it's such a depressing ending. Ted gets off scot-free for being a dick. Fang does nothing, even though I really wish he would have done something. Lucy's left completely heartbroken. This is the most depressing ending to a chapter I've seen so far. Al, do you have anything to add?
Chapters 8 and 9, also known as 2 chapters closer to crushing your soul.
Stacy's mom has got it going on. She's all I want, and I've waited for so long. Stacy, can't you see? You're just not the girl for me. I know it might be wrong, but I'm in love with Stacy's mom.
Before we start, let me put this on silent so it doesn't ruin a take.
Yeah, we probably should have done that earlier. My phone's not even actually on.